can see here, KB, fairly standard start coming out from them, and oops, every single one of them actually moving towards that one line with a lot of people. Could be a lot of gap pressure here, maybe a delayed one line push.
Yeah, I think they will leave those FE heavies back in some kind of cooldown so they can really snipe anyone who comes over the ridge. And my guess is they will actually try to put a Batchat maybe even behind the house.
Insane, instantly going on the cap here together with Algo. There's tier 9 Batchat, having a lot of cap pressure here. Feaster,
Also, they
Spoink,
have a
Camille.
smaller silhouette, don't forget that.
Feaster, Spoink, and Camille waiting in that one line, and then those two FE heavies from behind, probably trying to put so much pressure that KB is going to have to overcommit to this.
Well, KB is kind of a bit sluggish at the moment. They're still arranging their tanks. Percussion is joining, and he will maybe even cover those Batchats.
Yeah, those FE215Bs could cover the tanks from Oops from the side here, as we see Leech Bear, Sanef, Failware all grouping up for that 3-line push here, and still 3 guys from Oops still waiting in the 1 line though.
There is really a lot of pressure here going on. I wonder will Raven actually get good angles to arrest them from the back. It's not much time left for that.
Hellfish does get the reset onto Algo, so nice reset. Percussion getting pushed on together with Duck of Death by those bad stats from KB. Coming around the corner now, lots of pain here. Percussion is the first one to get focused, takes 3 shells already, and Duck of Death trying to shield him, but it doesn't even matter, as now the next one is going to be Pade from KB, as Duck of Death in the same time. Also Failware dropping low. Duck of Death is going to go down here in return to do that takedown Failware, and Pade should also fall here, but managed to do a lot of damage in return. Algo goes down to a one-shot, and KB currently with the advantage, but Hellfish taking a lot of damage as well, now going down to 19 HP, and getting taken down by Spoink, and match kind of in favor of Oops again.
Algo really did his job there. He didn't miss a single shot on that T5. Really steady hand, though he was low on HP, but the game is even now, and Knäckebröd is actually defending and 1k of HP advanced. Not a good situation to be in Oops now. They maybe have a gun more, but 3 of them are one-shot.
A lot of HP though on Raven HR in that 1390. A lot of negatable HP, as if he goes head-to-head with any of them, they can still pick him up here. It's gonna have to
But
see
we
how...
still have Fitzer, we still have Xaneleon and Crux on almost full HP.
Xaneleon and Crux here on full HP, but Camille and Feaster also having a lot of HP here. Algo just trying to spots out Xaneleon, and it's going to be interesting to see the rotation coming out from Oops and how KB will react to it. You see Feaster now going to K1, probably going to take that K-line control here. It would add a lot of potential, a lot of options for Oops.
A lot of dead giraffes on this spot.
A lot of dead giraffes on that spot, as you could see Percussion and Duck of that got taken down there pretty quickly, but Oops with a nice reaction there. Hellfish not really needed to fall there, but Pade, Failware, not much to be done.
Well, honestly, Knäckebröd does not have to move anywhere now, because all they need to do is react to some kind of Oops push and try to shoot off the low HP guys before they manage to do any kind of damage, and then focus Fitzer and Camille. So, even game now. Fitzer is the biggest HP guy is actually in the backline. That's quite surprising. But they have to choose a moment when they will push.
Feaster is now grouping up with the rest of his team, and they might be trying to go for the overmatch here on Sanalei, and Insane does get spotted out. Ooh, close miss coming out there, but Camille now moving in, takes the first shell from Sanalei and takes the second shell, has forced to back down, but Crooks in the same time does pick up Insane, but that full HP Batcha now goes down. Sanalei only has 3 shells left in the clip, now lands another on Camille, but now Feaster moving in with that full HP, should be able to pick up Sanalei here, doesn't have enough shells, Spoink goes down at the same time. Camille should be able to pick up, but Leech Bear and Raven landing those shells from the back as Leech Bear and their TVP picks them up, and it's only Camille against the full HP from Raven.
Well, it definitely looks like Oops brought the wrong choice when they kept like that. They thought probably that FE heavies should have enough firepower to stop any kind of significant push, but Clippers are Clippers, and FE heavies do not have any armor.
Camille realistically needs 3 shells to kill Raven and needs 2 to kill Leech Bear, but Raven is on the hunt here. Doesn't know. Camille's on reload, can't land any shell. Raven should be able to coming in here and picking up the first round for KB in pretty nice fashion here, as he does. And KB now 1-0 up against Oops, winning the defensive side of Muravanka. No real surprises there, but a very, very confident push around the 3 line.
Well, we'll steal them now in attack because defense percentages just rose. Kappa pride, eh?
Yeah, 0% before, now, I mean...
Yeah, they're now on 34% of defense. But never mind that. Decent performance by Knäckebröd now. No hasty reactions. They attacked from the right angle. Defense was on point. I would say Oops' tactics was a bit flawed. because if they had tanks positioned like that, I think they should be ready to push on E5 side and not stand like that, like open targets from the village side.
See some of the highlights here as E5 went down rather quickly. Krooks picking up Insane before he dies, and Sana Leon holding on for a very long time in reality, and Feaster not having the shells to finish him off. Going down there. A little bit of a lost desperation push from Oops at that point.
Pretty much. Oops had no choice, like we said already. They had a gun more, but they were all spotted. Knäckebröd already closed off all the exits, so they had to push somewhere. And pushing over the ridge there, I don't know, I would rather push the road if I were them.
Krooks training a lot of his HP. They're pretty lucky that there was Sana Leon as well with full HP.
Yeah, but that's why he did it, because there was people who could shoot.
KB against Oops. We said that this might be a close matchup here, so we're gonna have to see how this runs out as Oops.
Not really good performance so far. Last days they were playing also really offensive, even hastily sometimes. Straight on a cap, that's cool. Third guy on a cap, that's also okay. Not really great coverage on a hold-on position that can reset them, and position of the remainder of tanks. I really expected actually they will have a couple of guys in a cap, and that FVs will actually stay in a back in a hold-on position so they can nuke anyone who tries to flank them. So these guys would just go around and kill A5, and then they would deal with the guys coming from the back. But like this, it was kind of foolish.
See the stats here. Sana Leon with that little Gold League experience, still 3.2k damage, still alive for a very long time. Crucial plays.
Pretty good performance by him. Lichber also, so the new additions did the most in their team at the moment.
Yeah, Kamil Eater, a guy we would expect there as well, but then damage pretty evenly spread between those autoloaders. Single shooters not having a lot of effect here, as both the E5 and the FE215Bs went down rather quickly, and they are all three on the bottom of the scoreboard.
Definitely. Especially I'm disappointed in those FE heavies. It's not like they had something to do with it, but positioning was all wrong, tactical wise.
Got caught out pretty hard by those bad shots. Nobody from Oops really spotting that, so...
Or covered it.
Or covered it, and that one-line push a little bit late in reality. Should have been a little bit earlier, catching that STB even.
I would say they should not even be positioned like that, so everything from after that, it doesn't really matter.
Now, Oops is going to be on the defensive side.
It's Muravanka, and it's a defensive side. It's really hard to break. We've seen it can happen.
But it's hard.
It's hard.
It's usually done with artillery or some really crazy blitzes coming in. Now we are Grand Finals.
Yeah, but everyone now knows even how to counter the crazy blitzes and the angles, how to rest it from distance, even if you don't see the cappers. So it's not that easy anymore.
Only realistic possibility in here, I'd say, is artillery brought out. Insane, we've seen him play that, but it's for the defensive side for KB. Not really sure who their artillery player is.
In KB?
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember, honestly.
Let's take a look at the lineups and see if KB does decide to bring artillery here as they now move on to the offensive side. And that is a ton of bad shots.
Quite a lot of bad shots for defense. And one prototype, okay.
6 bad shots. Well, 5 bad shots, tier 10, 1 tier 9 bad shot, and 1 AMX30.
All baguette setup.
A full French setup in honor of Insane. But he's on the other team.
Yes, and there is no RT played.
So no artillery. So it looks like we've seen people play very spread as well with these bad shot lineups, not going always for the blitz, but more control. And Oops, their lineup looks fairly standard. AMX3090 for the bushes, and then the bad shots spread out. The STB and the one line and the 113 to take most of the damage here.
We'll see what kind of tactics actually Knäckebröd wants to play, because this is really highly rotational setup that cannot be used to play any kind of hold down. So there will be a kind of problem against the STB.
Let's see what KB has lined up for us, though, as the both teams are ready. Moving into our second round here. Let's see what KB has in store with us with that very autoloader heavy lineup. And it looks like they're going for a fast cap almost. Lichber and Krooks moving towards the cap. Xana Leon and Failware going to take that E1 position. Hellfish from behind. Raven spotting the 3-line rotation. So Oops going to have to be careful here.
Spoink and the guys are really taking offensively in those buildings. We've seen that a couple of times before. It's usually when you want to stop someone from capping this northern cap, because they can pressure out huge amount of shells.
Krooks has to be careful. He has those 4 bad shots from Oops. Does look like they want to go aggressive here. Insane on the front. Feast already taken some damage. Insane getting tracked here. Xana Leon and Philware. Second track onto Insane. Insane looks like he's the first target as he goes down, but in return, Philware getting picked up. Xana Leon should be the next target here for Oops, but Camille also taking a lot of damage here. Doesn't go down yet though. Percussion also taking a lot of damage, but trade still in favor of KB so far as they also pick up Camille and Elf. And now, what does Oops move do to get out of here? Because Percussion now pushing in, getting chased down by Raven. Nowhere he can go, nowhere he can hide. He's going to get picked up, and it looks like KB is going to win the next round as well.
I really don't see any follow-ups on Oops' plans. They're just going with play A, and if it doesn't work, I really don't see any cohesion for play B.
This is looking really bad for Oops. HP is still sort of even, but you know, it's the 3v.
Not even, and they are losing in number of guns, and they're losing in positioning also. This is not very well for them.
But Spoink might be able to catch Raven here as he jumps a little bit in the air here. But Spoink does catch him, sets him on fire there.
Sure.
Now the rest of the tanks coming in from KB, but nothing to be done here. Duck of Death is low. Badek should go down here too. Spoink does go down, but Leech Bear coming in as well. Rook still has 2 shells left, should be able to finish up Spoink. And where is Algo in that 3090?
He was probably reloading, so he's coming back now for the sweep. Crooks has only 1 shell that will end Spoink, so Algo will actually have to kill 1 guy now, immediately, and then hope that he will run away and maybe have a chance to kill. Oh, a bounce on that one.
Bounce is the one, and Crooks just running around the buildings here, trying to drag out Algo. Not forgetting that Leech Bear should be coming off of reload here within now and 5 seconds pretty much, and a little bit of blocking even coming out from Leech Bear, but now Algo does pick up Crooks, but that bad shot should be able to catch Algo as we don't see his reload right now, but should be coming off. Misses the first shot actually, and Algo taking some distance here. It's still possible. Leech needs 3 shells to kill Algo. Algo will get down here, lands. Ooh, that's a low roll. 293 is going to need 2 more shells. No! Actually misses the shell here. Leech Bear only has 2 more, needs a decent normal roll here. Algo trying to play with the mountains. Can Leech Bear does it? And he does it. I got a little bit too close there in the end, but Leech Bear managing to secure the round now.
Well, Algo played to his best, but it was not his game to win against 2 tier 10 Bachats. Yeah, he doesn't even have enough ammo in that 6 clips without setting him on fire or ammo wrecking him to kill him.
Even if he lands every single one of those,
yes,
Leech Bear would survive.
It's like 1400 damage at best.
Oops, not looking good so far. Now down 2-0.
They're attempting some kind of fast plays, but I don't see them happening really well.
That push was very weird, especially because KB had a pretty crossfire setup of them that, as we see some of the highlights from the last round.
I've seen this play before. Some teams used it. You can push like this and you can really surprise a team and take off some of the crucial positions, like we've seen now. Some of the Knäckebröd guys fell, but they were also really well covered because the rest of Knäckebröd was also playing offensive. So in this kind of game, definitely or not.
You can see here Algo doing what he can. Picks up did pick up Crooks there, but nothing to be done against Leech Bear, who is full HP. So KB, full control.
Full French setup actually worked.
Full French setup did work. Let's take a look at the stats and see exactly who from KB managed to pull them across that victory line there. As we can see, it is going to be Leech Bear 3.5. No real surprise.
Pretty much again, like he performed this match. He's performing really well because he didn't have a good time against out of range.
Should I put him on my fantasy team?
Oh dang.
Oh dang, but we can see the issue there. First 7 spots, 5 of them are from KB. 2 from Oops doing what they can, but Spoink and Duck of that were pretty much the last 2 alive, so...
Yeah, they were bound to do any damage. Insane, not so much.
Insane, getting double tracked in that bat shot, pretty much in the open for everybody. It was an easy pick off. And then that push from Oops was very telegraphed. You saw those 4 guys, never really got unspotted, and then that push, the 2-9 bat shots, everybody had line of sight onto them.
Oh, that was one of the worst things I've seen in this game. And the rest is not really worth commenting. Algo did like 5 shots on this bat shot now, and probably of those other shots, 1 only.
So Oops not looking so great here, Muravanka. Moving into our next map though, Ghost Town, Mojo. Who do you favor in this one?
Well, Ghost Town actually won last time, both games against Rusty Roster, but they were as close as it gets. If you remember, we saw a lot of risky plays, and it doesn't seem like Knäckebröd is falling for that.
Doesn't seem like Knäckebröd is falling for that. The spiciness that Hellfish was talking about, working in their favor for now. Maybe eager to beat Oops.
Oh, come on, spice is life.
Spice is... No. Salt is life, Mojo.
That's for you. You're the salty guy here.
But now, KB 2-0 up. Not what I expected coming off from Muravanka.
I kind of expected 1-1 here, but this well works for Knäckebröd. They're definitely now in good position because they can ease up on the rest of the games. If they just play 1-1 till the end, it's a win.
Let's take a look at the lineups, what we have ready here for Ghost Town, and probably seeing a lot of 50Bs here again. As oops, I think we saw this lineup from them before. Double FV215B, 350Bs, and the 229 batch shots.
Yeah, this is the same risky strat they used yesterday. I don't think they changed anything. Did they even prepare for today?
They had some issues with main players not being able to be there, so perhaps.
Perhaps they didn't have time to prepare, especially for Knäckebröd, but we will see here. It's not an excuse. This is End Gold League, and I'm hoping they will perform the best they can.
It's also a little bit of a mind game bringing the same lineup, as a lot of teams do watch your matches and they know what they're going to do, and they can do more than one thing with a lineup. But it does seem like our teams already here. Can Oops come back, or is KB going to extend their lead? Let's find out as we move into Ghost Town. We can see here KB on the defensive side, bringing a lot of FE215Bs. No real surprise. Pretty good hold down tanks. Doing a normal split here. Leon, Raven moving towards that one line, but for Oops, we already see Algo and Insane going towards the cap. So they're going to put a lot of cap pressure pretty quickly. So I'm going to have to see how KB reacts to this.
Really a lot of commitment from KB on us out here, but we've seen that happen yesterday also. I don't think they even changed anything. And Oops playing pretty much similar also. So Lichberg is now breaking some of the houses, so he will get a clearer vision so he can reset on these mediums. They are spotted, and the majority of Knäckebröd is just gathering up slowly. Slowly is the keyword.
You can see here Lichberg trying to destroy those buildings, but needs to be careful here. It's probably going to push across towards that A4 position we've been seeing used before into that hold down. As Insane and Algo still putting a lot of cap pressure on here, and the rotation from KB is kind of slow. Kruk, Leon, Raven gonna need a lot of time to get here. If Lichberg needs to get at least one reset, and the push coming out from Oops at the same time, all of them pushing forward. Insane and Algo pushing off the cap as well now, and Failware is going to be the first target as he's about to be in a world of pain here. Everybody from Oops, everybody from Oops coming around. And now Lichberg is going to be the next target. This is almost like what we saw before, but at the same time, the tanks from KB trying to do damage from behind, but they pick up Pare as well. So Lichberg now also going down, and it looks like Oops finally found their strive here, as Hellfish also dropping low HP, but Oops completely in control of this round.
What a distraction derby here. And now we can see why are those tier 9 mediums so dangerous, because you can put them in a cap, and if they have any exit available, they can join the rest of their team in a blink of a second in the big counter push. The little split by Knäckebröd proved to be not so little at the end, because those fast rotation tanks actually caught them off guard completely.
Just like as in Ding versus Swift, those two guys getting caught off guard here, giving the advantage to Oops, and even Pare then trying to help his teammates, getting focused down, and Oops, very convincing return here onto Ghost Town.
Very nice game indeed. I'm glad that this will be a match finally, because after those first two games we were really worried about that.
And it does look like Oops is going to pick their first round here, as Insane closes out the round, and a very convincing victory there from Oops. Same strategy as before, but the push out, and KB, not the greatest rotations coming out there. A lot of people in the south, not close to their team at all, and Failware,
They
poor
were
guy.
split up all over the place, completely ignoring the fact how many fast tanks actually Oops has and what can they do with them.
So Oops taking the advantage here, now 2-1, and we could be seeing a score all even here at this point, as they're now on the defensive side. As we look at some of the highlights from that last round here, Failware getting absolutely wrecked in that FE215B, Paladin getting wrecked, and Lichberg pretty much losing 3 tier 10s for free.
I don't think there was anything he could do. He could just sit there and say, help, help.
Desperately spamming the F7 button.
Yeah, but after that second help, he was dead already, so it doesn't matter.
Oops, reading the game pretty well though. Those tier 9 bad shots, first dominant performance I've seen so far coming out of those.
Everyone else was pretty much misusing them a lot, but Algo and Insane did really well. They went out of the cap in right moment, joined the rest of their team, and continued playing as they should. It's pretty much similar play, I would say, even to old Bulldogs, if you remember. They were playing like that.
And they do actually remind me a lot about the old Bulldogs. But let's take a look at the stats and see exactly how much Insane and Algo managed to do here. Insane, actually, in that tier 9 batch shot.
3k damage.
3k damage.
3k, okay, nice.
Well, look at the first 7 spots. I mean, Hellfish was in Oops at one point, so pretty much 7 players from Oops in the top 7.
Wow. Okay, this is the biggest dominance of one team in these days we've seen so far. Out of the top 7 players, 6 are from Oops. Hellfish being the only one somewhere in the mid-range. So we probably have guys with 1 to 0 shots here.
Well, Failware and Leech didn't do more than, you can see Failware 0, Leech 441, then Pada fell as well, 749, Raven, Xane, Crooks, no performances to write home about.
Nope. Pretty fast game and pretty nice one to watch, actually.
Could see there the good thing to notice how Oops realized once Hellfish got spotted in the south over there that there was a lot of tanks not in the fight. Failware got pounced on from 2 sides, and then Leechbear, yes, his position on A4 is strong. We've talked about this before, how that position is fairly strong. But if you manage to push past that road where Oops was, where Failware was sitting, then you can catch him pretty much for free.
Yeah, it was really, they fell just for the plan of Oops. They did everything Oops wanted and even gave them the gift of split tanks.
Let's take a look at our lineups here, moving into the 4th round between these two. Still on Ghost Town now. Oops moving over to the defensive side, and this is exactly the same lineup as they used before. And KB, double T10, double 113, 350Bs.
This
looks
is
like a one line. Looks like a one cap.
Definite one can push. Definite one can push with some 50Bs to cover their backs. Now, since we don't have Waffens anymore, everyone is using 50Bs for fast rotation and pumping out the shells. But we've seen also some 57s.
Some 57s as well, but seems like they're favoring the 50B, more speed coming in here.
Yeah, they're kind of more handy behind the corners here, so 57 was well used on actually Muravanka.
We're going to have to see how they use that. This lineup again telegraphs to us, they want to put 3 of them on the cap, make sure Oops doesn't have time to destroy the buildings, and then Capo 3 puts so much pressure on that Oops has to make a mistake and pounce on it.
This is really interesting now because previously people were using maybe Ru always to climb up and Bachat was spotting down, but you now have a Bachat in defense AP that you can put down at tier 9 and you can keep a Conqueror with your main force, which gives you actually significant number of firepower.
Let's see what Oops and KB have in store for us as we move into our 4th round here between these two. KB with a very aggressive lineup here, already biasing themselves towards the 1 cap as expected, Mojo. In the tier 9 Bachat actually of Insane, trying to spot the crossing over there, but again, this point going to that A4 position and a lot of tanks from
Knäckebröd are definitely committing to 1 cap. There is no even a shred of doubt from that. Spoink is there in nice connection from there.
But
Spoinky good.
Spoinky good. Already taking out Leechbear's ammo rack, so minus the repair kit. Pay attention to that if he gets tracked now, but we can see Hellfish already moving onto that cap together with Raven and one other Pada actually in that T10. Now the question is, what is Oops going to bring to this, as a lot of their tanks are not in position to really deal with this cap for now.
Yeah, but Spoink is fairly safe here. There is no one that can actually push him, and the rest of the Oops, 6 tanks, no less, will gather up and push eventually. And spamming HE on Spoink, well, he's not the one to be rested.
Already lost his driver with that first neutralized. Perkusian driving across here, already taking 1.2k damage.
It's jaywalking.
Xana Leon in return also taking a lot of damage. And Perkusian, what is he doing as he completely overextends and gets wrecked by 350Bs? Perkusian, what are you doing?
Is he drunk?
What is Crooks doing at the same time? Crooks driving forward here. And it's capped. It's capped. KB captures the base.
What the cheese? What was this? Okay, we now understand why Percusiat actually went so much up, so he can try and reset. It was not a suicidal drive. We missed that point.
We missed the cap completely.
But the rest of the Oops, what were they doing? Why were they so hesitating? I mean, the ticker was going on really fast.
I completely lost track of the cap there for a second.
I mean, we all did, but yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't. And
3-1 for Knäckebröd.
3-1 for Knäckebröd.
Never saw that coming.
That was fairly.
We are horrible at prognosing matches.
Oh, we thought it was going to be a close one. For now, KB taking 3-1 here. That Percusia, though, still, you shouldn't peak like that.
But he had no choice.
350B.
There was no one to rest it.
We were talking about how Oops has a lot of tanks in that southern part, and both teams here flunking the Ghost on defense.
Yeah, Ghost on defense. Well, Ghost on defense. Ghost on is actually one of the maps that's really hard to win on any side. It doesn't really matter if you're defending or attacking. It doesn't give you big advantage.
Still, if you give that one cap up for free, not even destroy all the buildings, it's extremely hard to reset. We've seen this before.
Yes, that's why people use that side street, so they can rest it from there. But it requires specific defense. And since they did a full rotation from the south, they were late. Knäckebröd, with such a high offensive play without any reckless play even.
Let's take a look at stats, or the lack of it, really, in this round.
How many people we have? 0 here. Oh, Crooks actually did 1600, and Lichbar also.
Well, they got 3 shells onto Prokhorovka.
It's not free.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Spoing there, doing something, and spending probably some HE, but eventually he was not the one to reset that everything there, because you can shoot only so much. There are some positions that are completely ignorant of his presence.
0, 0, 0, 0, 0,
0, 0.
And 89.
that was HE shell on Spoink.
Then knocked out his drivers. Yeah. Then properly actually made it so Spoink didn't have the speed to even drive into that capture circle, losing his driver there.
Horrible. Horrible. Like a tier 9 medium with 0 damage, 50B also. They didn't even fire a shot.
Well, I hope for everybody watching right now, you don't have any of these players on your fantasy team, because
not gonna profit much.
Very low points coming out there. But now, KB being 3-1 up, and it's been an extremely fast match so far. Both teams not looking like they're gonna play defensive at all.
Yeah, they're really all out. I like that. And after so long cast, I think all of us want this to end one way or another.
Mojo, I want the tiebreaker here.
You want a tiebreaker there?
I want tiebreaker.
I think you want only a break, mate, not a tie.
I don't have a tie with me, so I'm gonna have to go get that one.
Yeah, no problem. But next map will be
Prokhorovka.
Prokhorovka.
I had to cheat there for a second.
Yeah, that will be a lot of maybe fast pushes. With their tactics, it could be... I would really like to see an old-fashioned brawl in the middle. I haven't seen that in a while.
6 STBs and an RU251.
I can go with all budgets if I care. It's okay. 7-on-7 budgets, mate. You can do it now. It's all legit. Now.
Reminds me of the old EPS lineup that used to push in everywhere on Prokhorovka.
You know what was the best game I've seen on Prokho ever? I watched at first grand finals. You remember those guys from where were they? Indonesia or something? Philippines. And when they pushed over the ridge and they just YOLO'd, and the guy stood up and started yelling, and they killed all the Americans.
Let's take a look at our lineup. So coming into our next round here. Prokhorovka now, and double 1-1-3, 5 bad shots again for Oops, and then for KB, a little bit more balanced lineup, you'd say.
Not enough bad shots, I don't like it.
Not enough bad shots. Bringing that STB again, and the TVP. Still, that TVP, not a fan. Not a fan.
Oops is in attack here, and they have definitely more offensive lineup. TVP for Knäckebröd will probably be played by Crooks, and he will sit on a rail.
Let's see what KB and Oops have in store for us, as it's now currently 3-1 for KB as we move into Prokhorovka. As you can see here, KB going for that normal defensive setup. Crooks on the rails, everybody else biasing themselves more towards 1-2 line, and Raven spotting in the middle. And interesting split actually from Oops.
Oops is actually splitting their heavies on the right side. That's kind of an old-fashioned approach that would make enemy think they have a lot of mediums on the hill, but they're actually keeping them hidden in the woods. That's kind of a mind play of a sort, and they're giving Algo a solo purpose on the hill. So one would make wonder, Raven is actually coming for a spot alone.
No,
alone.
Duck of Death and Percusiad are
they actually took the bait.
Are baiting KB into pushing that wall line, so they can take a little bit of advantage here for free. And as soon as that will happen, Percusiad, Raven here finds in the entirety of Oops waiting in the bushes. A lot of misses here. Kamil picks them up. Now those 1-1-3s will probably jump the rails as soon as this happens, so they don't get pushed on. But they're not doing this. It's a mistake so far. They need to drive over this rail because the entirety of KB is now going to come and push them, and they need to be quick.
Oh, there is really a lot of hurt here, but
Ooh, but
Algo is
Algo-
also pumping from the hill.
Bada taking a lot of damage here now as the push from KB comes in. All of them moving forward, but still Algo doing a lot of damage. Still those 1-1-3s. Duck of that is going to be the first one on the chopping board here as he's going to go down any second. And after that, moving on to Percussia, but still those 3 bad shots now coming in from Oops from the side.
Algo's
Paying
really
attention to
keeping
that.
Hellfish track down there, and he's really performing well for his first league in gold.
Yeah, Percussia dragging all these guys back into the little city, and Xana Leon there in a lot of trouble in the middle. Percussia even picks up Hellfish, and now Xana Leon has to deal with those 3 bad shots at the same time. Percussia doing a great play here, and Xana Leon, it's all over for him as Spoink pushes in. Pada goes low as well, and it looks like the bait from Oops actually worked out.
Oops is actually doing really well, and this kind of trap really worked out. I actually like this. It's really fun. They did a really significant sacrifice in those 1-1-3s, but keeping Algo on that hill was actually a crucial point.
Kind of feel like those 1-1-3s still could have jumped the rail though, for example, and been completely safe.
The only thing is this was kind of a blind plan, because if Knäckebröd played the other side of the village, they would be 3 guys dead without killing anyone.
Algo didn't spot any of those 3 bad shots, doesn't manage to drop off the hill. Leechbear taking a lot in return, but still, Feaster, Spoink, Insane, they're all full HP, and not much KB can do in this one as Oops now gonna take another convincing win against them.
Honestly, Oops only needs to put Camille in a cap number 1, and they can just wait them out with the rest of the guys.
Camille here getting actually caught off a little bit, but Failware as well getting caught, and Feaster might be able to land the shell here. Nope. Gets behind the hill, but it's Insane to pick him up, and it's just Crooks and Leechbear, and they're both stuck on this hill. Insane could probably deal with Crooks here at this point.
He doesn't know that Leechbear doesn't have any shells, and he doesn't want to risk anything. There is no need. They are 2 games down. It's 3-1 for Knäckebröd. They really need this victory.
Yeah, picking up this victory is fairly important for Oops here, bringing the score back to 3-2 and denying KB from getting onto match point. Crooks tries to run away here, but Feaster and Insane are pouncing. Does manage to drop off the hill. Leechbear trying to land some shells from the back here, but at this point, nothing to be done here for those 2 guys as they're just trying to, you know, sweeten up the post-battle statistics a little bit.
Yeah, there is a final push coming in now from Oops, and Oops pretty decisively actually and daring wins on Knäckebröd here.
Well, you know, they know how Hellfish thinks, so maybe they figured that Spoink does pick up Leechbear, and now Oops coming back to 3-2 actually. As I was saying, maybe they suspected Hellfish would take the bait.
Yeah, definitely there was some kind of mind game here, because you do not do this blindly. They probably know that he does not like to play the village side, because we've seen several teams now take the village side. If you come there with 7 tanks, there is no way for these 3 guys to survive. No way. This was definite counterplay.
That 1-1-3s, I was kind of criticizing them for staying there, but I still feel like they should have jumped the rails probably and just taken the advantage that they had. Algo would still be on the hill, and now Percussia, they made some great plays dragging them out, but could have gone completely different.
The KB was really so close there already. I don't think they could have jumped the rail, because they would be just massacred immediately while they were crossing it. This was kind of better because Algo was able to do full clip and reload, and they were also shooting several shots.
Poor Raven.
Poor Raven. At least it was better than to send a tier 10 budget to spot is there anyone there, you know?
Percussia played that round extremely well though. Some mispositioning coming out from Xana Leon. Not sure why he decided to stay in the middle, even though he knew that Oops had 3 bad shots who were going to come close to the fights. And these are the dying moments of the round here as Crooks and Leechbear tried to do what they could, but wasn't enough.
3-2. Will this be another tiebreaker?
I said it.
Man, when I see the next map, I am actually thinking it's very possible. But it depends.
It depends who picks up this round. But let's look at the statistics and Raven HR, pretty sure he does hear how damage. Failware again, main damage dealer was set from KB being on top, and Feaster, time after time, performing pretty well here.
Definitely, followed by Percussia and Algo. Algo is also doing really nice in these 2 matches that we watched so far from Oops.
Yeah, it's been a good addition to the team so far. Rest of the damage pretty spread between the guys from Oops and KB. Not much to take away from that. Nobody really having to step up and bring their teams towards victory. Hellfish and the STB got wrecked by Algo, and then Raven got wrecked in general.
Yeah, definitely nothing more to add up here. They fell for the trap, they fell for the mind game that Oops set up for them, and now Oops will be on defensive side.
Oops will be on the defensive side, and giving you a sneak peek of our next map. Our next map is Ruinberg. So whoever picks up this round here, brings it onto match point, is the most likely to close out the round. If it goes to 3-3, tiebreaker is pretty likely because Ruinberg is a fairly balanced map both sides. But if KB managed to pick up this round, bring it 4-2, they only have to win the defensive side on Ruinberg, which is fairly easy.
Yeah, I would say we need to see now what's going on because otherwise it might be a long night ahead.
Might be a long night ahead as we take a look at our lineups here. Still 3-2 in favor for KB here. As you can see, double 1-1-3, 4 bad shots and a ruin. Oops, 5 bad shots again, 1 E5 and an RU251.
So E5 is an anchor, Ru is a kind of a spotter. They might play whatever side they choose with this. They can go on hillside or on wood side. Any kind of rotation is possible for Oops and it's unreadable.
We'll have to see what Oops decide to do. But it's a very heavy rotational setup, which we're getting pretty used to by now. The meta has fastened up a lot, except for Ting and Swift so far. But KB, what do we think we're going to see the standard plan here coming out?
KB is now definitely on roll. I think they really need this game. And with this amount of 1-1-3s, they can try to do something like Rusty Roster is playing.
Let's see if KB managed to bring themselves into match point or Oops is going to bring it even Stevens again. As you can see here, Oops obviously biasing themselves towards that 1-2 line. Algo might go for that A0 position. And actually, KB moving towards the Village side.
And this is kind of an old play, and they are sending Leechbear on an offensive spot to prevent anyone from climbing the hill, while the major force is going for the village side. But what is their intention to do with this? I don't know, because 2-cap is not actually the one to be triggered anymore.
Nice shot from Algo.
Yeah, nice shot there. You can really fairly easy decap it, and it's high risk now to try to go there without actually having a fight.
Yeah, I'll go here just trying to spot the push from KB, and Camille pretty passive for now. We're not going to overcommit the same way as KB did, as now KB slowly starting to take the city side. They're probably going to go 0 line, clear out that A0 position, and then trigger the cap with 1 or 2 bad shots.
Well, KB taking the position slowly, nowhere to rush there. And Oops is also on really careful approach with Algo and Percushiat in E5 spotting the front.
You can see here Leechbear can cover either side. He can cover A6 and he can also cover A0 as Raven's now slowly pushing up on that position. Try to see if nobody's in those bushes over there, as it's a fairly common spot for a lot of teams to have somebody in those A0 bushes.
Raven is climbing up, and I hope we will see him soon. He's slowly checking out, is there anyone on A0? That was a position used in past, but mainly teams abandoned it because it's kind of a suicide spot once you get spotted. But there you go, Raven, king of the hill, checked it out, and he has some bushes he can use from here now.
It's actually a fairly strong position on attack as well, because you can land those shells on the rail consistently, and he can spot them pretty much as well. And now finally, Oops does seem like they're starting to rotate here with 3 bad shots going down the 1-2 line, not wanting to get caught the same way they did.
Well, it's kind of a slow play from Knäckebröd. That's a first for this game, I would say, for any of those teams. So the game has a high stakes at the moment, everyone knows it, and they're trying not to do something foolish.
Actually 4 tanks taking that 1-2 line now, and even Insane moving closer now. If Hellfish and the boys realize this, it could be pretty bad for Oops, but for now nobody's been spotted yet, so no real moves being made as we see Hellfish and Pade now pushing up. Probably gonna go try and play against KB, against Percussion here.
It's interesting how the game is evolving this season. I would say the level of play of all the players has risen quite significantly up. The amount of training they are investing shows. And there is kind of rotation coming now from Oops. Will they actually do a full push over the rail now in a group?
It does look like Oops' play here is to go over in the rails in a group, going for those 1-1-3. Hellfish is the first one on the chopping board, getting shot from all sides already. Drops a lot of HP. Percussion at the same time as well. Hellfish should be going down any second, but Camille and Percussion trading a lot, and Pade is now the next target. Camille should be picked up here by Leechbear, so that bad shot going down in return, and still that Pade. And 1-1-3 from Pade staying alive, as Duck of Death should be falling here as well, and KB with a fairly decent advantage in this round.
The exchange is huge. There is some advantage for KB, and though Hellfish thinks there is no grudge match here, I can see he's focused first in every game.
He's focused first in every game. KB and Oops now fairly even. Yes, KB is down 2 tanks and Oops is only down 1 tank. They still have that E5 alive though for Oops, which is a pretty significant thing at this part. He's only on 843 HP, but
And no
bounce a few
driver.
shells.
And no driver. That's kind of a problem.
Could be kind of a problem. You see Crooks here in those bushes, waiting for anybody to get spotted in the middle, and Oops just repositioning, slowing down the game again, taking the angles, waiting for KB's move.
We saw a really quick engagement. It was kind of a bloody, one clip on each side, and everyone back to lick their wounds, and now they're thinking what to do next.
Lichbeer here just spotting Algo for now. If he goes over there, Insane and Duck of Dead, and even Spoink in position to hit him, so wouldn't be the greatest decision he's taken so far. The rest of KB, actually all of them waiting on the hill. Not sure what's going on there, having a campfire.
Let us not forget, it is half game in, and Knäckebröd is actually attacking. Now we've been saying that 2 cap is not viable for cap anymore. The thing is, you can do a lot of decapping through below the wagons, and they can do nothing about it to stop it. It's a problem. Also, they can just lean from either side of the rail and do the same. It's really hard to prevent it. Like, someone can always risk taking 1 shot and just do it.
Fairly slow play here from KB now. We've already had all the action so far. Algo just probing, seeing if he can find something. Raven still in an A0 position. Might be able to land the shot onto Algo at some point if he peeks up too far, but doesn't see him as he misses the shell there. So Raven not being able to land it now. Sanaleon also pushing up slowly. What is the KB's final plan here? What is their end move?
They're at the moment waiting for some mistake that someone tries to rotate, but Oops is not taking a bait. I really don't know why Spitzer is so long down, because he's the guy with only guy in Oops with 100% HP. I really think, and I have a feeling, he should join the rest of the guys.
Yeah, if KB realize here that Spitzer, he is spotted, so they have some information here. Algo though just trying to bait him in towards the shells here. So gonna be curious, and that E5 being still alive is a big deal at this point. They can't really deal with him, as now it seems like they're sending over Raven first, and that might not be a good idea. It doesn't actually take a lot of damage for this. Now starting to take more and more, and it doesn't look like the plan by sending Raven first is going to work out, as now
Algo might finish him off now, and as he did, and it didn't really work. Algo is alive on 1 HP.
and a tracking shot from Sanaleon. So Algo,
Heroic.
heroic last stand here from Algo, that RU251 on 1 HP, possibly dealing 2000 damage, not his own damage, but damage from the back here, as now looks like Oops is in a pretty good position here, and still Crooks on that hill, full HP together with Failware, not really agreeing with
We
that
know
so
that
far.
Crooks likes to play a kind of not that aggressive, but this was really casual. Like, he's the only guy that actually has some HP.
This could have worked if, for example, at the same time they pounced on Feaster on the stop. They knew that Algo was obviously going to be covered. Could have probably taken down Feaster at the same time if only Crooks and Failware decided to push that. But now, 2 minutes and 50 seconds
It's
left.
really hard to push him, because if they go down, Feaster would actually see them go down. There is no cover there whatsoever, and Feaster could have chosen to shoot them or just run away. So I guess that's why they were keeping them here. But I was thinking more like, why didn't they focus entire team on North and just leave Feaster there alone? That was my question.
Why sending Raven in first with full HP?
Why
Seems like a good plan.
send him in full HP and with no follow-up? That's the problem. But they're on attack. There is 2.5 minutes till the end.
And Crooks is going in. Lichberg gets absolutely wrecked here already. Crooks going in for Percussion. Lands the first, lands the second, and actually Duck of Dead going down as well, but Sanaleon gets traded in return. Crooks is the only one with HP here, and Spoink, Insane, and Feaster are pretty healthy, as Crooks manages to bounce a shell here. Only has 2, so not enough to deal with Insane, as he's going over here. Shouldn't be really anything he can do. Gets tried, gets held, should get blown up here as Spoink picks him up. 2 minutes left. It's all on to Failware and Leech.
Leech, almost entire HP gone for 1 HP of Algo. Not a good trade. Not a good trade at all. Oops holds all the cards at the moment. Failware is still on the top of the hill, sniping from there. He will come out at one moment, but he's a 2-shot for anyone, and there is more than enough HP here in Oops to win it, especially since they are, we can repeat it again and again, they are the ones defending actually. Knäckebröd needs about 60 seconds to cap with 2 guys, and they don't look like they're even trying.
2 minutes left. 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 2 minutes l there isn't really much to be done in this situation here. No matter where they go, with the time being so low as well at this point, even if they do manage to find the first kill here, Feaster is on decent HP, Insane is on decent HP, and Spoink will just make sure he secures the round by hiding somewhere. There's a lot of bushes here. There's no chance for KB to realistically clear all these bushes if Oops just decides to run. Spoink here, now with 1 minute left, decides to start running. It's probably going to go towards A1 as it is the longest distance away from anywhere that KB can come from, securing the round for his team. So no matter what happens here, Leech gets spotted, might get taken down by Feaster as well, as he does get taken down by Feaster. Now all on to Failware with 461 HP, a dream, but dreams dreams are dreams.
There is nothing Failware can do here. The game will end in 30 seconds one way or another, or he can just suicide against these guys, and we will go to Ruinberg for first time in this season.
First time on Ruinberg. Failware lands the first one on Insane. Insane misses the first one, lands the second one. Should be able to pick up Failware here as he does, making the score all even now. 3-3 between these twos. Moving into Ruinberg. Possible tiebreaker, Mojo.
No stomps today.
Possible tiebreaker. So what went so wrong for KB in this round? They lost their 1-1-3s.
They actually took a bait for Algo in that moment. Like by that moment, they could have done anything. There was really decisive push by Oops across the rail. They tried their chances. They focused out.
Well, they
two
saw
guys.
Hellfish, so
They saw Hellfish, so they had to kill him. One Hellfish has to die. But it didn't pay out for Oops either. So they ran away on their side, respectively, KB on their side, and then there was a whole lot of nothing by KB.
couldn't really do anything about Prokhorovka. They had to suicide Crookston at some point for him. That E5 proving to be a nuisance as well. Now 3-3, moving into Ruinberg. As you must see some of the highlights here. This is when the 1-1-3s got pounced on, and not much to be done here. Then Algo staying alive here. Raven dies. Leechbear takes a lot of damage. Xanaleon only tracks him.
If you get assist damage by Algo in this game, between 3 and 4k. Quite a lot for one light tank, I would say.
Algo, crucial plays here. Final moments of the round there. Failware.
Nothing to do.
We said this was going to be a close one, and it's proven to do so. Ruinberg, typically being a very defensive map between a lot of teams here.
If you don't fall for some silly bait, you usually win defense, so it's only left in offense. How capable are you to fool the enemy team?
We've seen so far these teams are equally balanced. Let's take a look at the stats from those last round, though, and see exactly how that went down. Spoink! 4k damage, actually, 4.1. Impressive performance there.
Spoink and Insane, actually quite a lot done there. I would say Failware, also a lot, but there's been a lot of sitting on hill between him and Crooks.
Failware and Crooks being on that hill possibly for a too long time. Rest of the damage, again, pretty equally spread between the two here.
We would expect some kind of rotation from their team on K-line much earlier, because they had only Algo to deal with on south. They could have done a silent switch and just try to overrun the southern part of the map, but they took their chancing with killing one light and lost practically everything they had.
Algo, crucial plays in that round. On Ruinberg, though, these teams have been so even. I don't really see any of the two being able to pull out a victory on attack here.
Yeah, I really don't know what will they try to pull off. We haven't seen Ruinberg a single time yet. Maybe there will be some interesting plays with tier 9 budgets.
Those tier 9 budgets could prove to be useful here. As you can see, Raven, Camille was the first focus there for the boys of KB. Hellfish also the first focus.
Raven was the one to find them.
Raven was the one to find them, and then Hellfish, first focus.
Hellfish was one spotted ahead. Ahoy, everyone to Raven. Everyone to Hellfish.
Now, moving into Ruinberg. It's very hard to predict between these two. It's been so close so far.
It didn't look so close at the start, honestly. It looks like Oops just came here to play without any preparation, but now they're giving a hell of a fight. Ruinberg, I don't know. It was a really good map for them before. Much better than for KB, 75%, but that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Meta changed, things changed,
well.
way of thinking's changed, the rosters changed, so it's just an old statistic and everything is new here.
Everything is going to be new here. Moving into our 7th round. Still counting correctly there.
Yeah.
We've seen almost everything on Ruinberg, haven't we? I mean, we haven't seen it played this season yet, so the tier 9 bad shot might have a big effect onto it. Still going to have to see how that works out. The A-line push could be a little bit more effective here now, as you can pick 2 tier 9 bad shots, for example, instead of the RU251.
Yeah, definitely you can do a lot with those. Especially you can now even more effectively push maybe in the buildings on the top cap. Don't forget that.
Let's take a look at those lineups and see if either of these two teams are going to be bringing the tier 9 bad shot. They don't.
Nope.
So both teams here. The Gorilla coming out, and the T49 actually from Oops. Not the greatest fan of that one on Ruinberg, and KB, double 113.
Oops, actually taking a grill in attack, quite interesting. And 49, really hope they don't plan to just use him in some kind of shield. I don't like that. I don't like throw tank like that.
Actually, I think he's going to be a shield. Feels like he is going to be a shield with that stock turret.
That's horrible. I hate it. I hate to waste a tank like that. But T54 Light also has only one purpose, and that's to go down that road and spot the people. So if it's an even trade, it's okay.
Mojo only gives a seal of approval if it's going to be an even trade between these two. Ruinberg has been... It doesn't look like we're going to see any shenanigans here, but it does look like our game is finally ready between these two. 3-3. Who's going to get on match point here? Let's move into Ruinberg.
Ruinberg, a mixed type map. The defending team starts the battle on the green, and the attacking team starts at the centre square of the town. Bases are located quite far from each other. Both bases are better controlled from the village when playing a heavy setup. It's better to attack the first base through the top direction with the help of several well-armoured heavy tanks. For the attack on the second base, it's better to use a more mobile setup and either play through the centre or split forces. In general, the map is not easy to play on. Teams often use blind shots and risky shifting of the forces from one flank to another.
Moving into Ruinberg here. Having Insane go down the middle already. Spoing covering the back. The Gorilla, duck of that, might be taking that middle road position, and the rest of the guys going south.
Really aggressive play by Knäckebröd also. They're approaching the middle. Maybe they will even manage to do a shotgun. No, Duck of Death is taking his angles.
Are these 113 is going to push? Oh, well, for a second there I thought Hellfish and Pare were going to push straight into the middle road into that Gorilla, but doesn't seem like that. That T54 lightweight actually not going down the 0 line, so KB giving up the entire southern side of the map pretty much
Raven
for free.
just spotted a bit, but they gave entire map. Like they can even start to cap for free.
Very defensive stance from KB here, very far back into the 0 line.
Duck of Death is actually in the problem here because there is a hole they can shoot in through the north.
Is he going to be high enough profile though? Because he can wiggle backwards and forwards, probably making it very hard to shoot his third.
Yeah, but you can shoot a budget when he's there. Why wouldn't you be able to shoot a grill?
Sanaleon does seem like he wants to try and find Duck of Death. Not seeing him yet, so Hellfish and Pare.
They have to check out the city for a
Crooks'
possible...
rotation got spotted though. So Feaster is up on that ramp position. Crooks got spotted. Rotation is kinda up here at 50B. Doesn't matter what happens now. Oops is gonna be suspecting that 50B to come there, so...
But look at the Insane and Camille. They are already lurking there.
This position here from Feaster is so strong compared to those 113s. There's no chance in hell that they're ever going to penetrate him there. His top of the turret is even so far up high, they're not going to hit that, so can't really play against Feaster here. Algo now starting the cap. Everybody else from Oops is pretty much in the city, and this rotation from KB could get caught out pretty hard.
Algo is just triggering the cap. Of course, no one expects him really to cap it, but it's a good tool to attract attention and to make them move. So far, actually, it looks like Oops' plan is working nice, though there is no damage exchanged.
It's going to depend if Spoink can get out of there for free. He's in a bush at the fountain, most likely. Failware here in the FE215B, very defensive, spotted by a 50B.
We would really like to see Spoink now, because this is the heat of the action with Cap, and Camille is the only one guy covering him effectively.
Here we see Raven moving into Spoink now, so Spoink is spotted at this point. Xanaleon will come around the corner. Spoink has to drive forward, gets tracked already. Spoink needs to get out of here. Xanaleon peeking around that corner. Raven actually getting pretty safe here. Spoink not the best of trades, but still equal for now, as Raven does pick him up as he goes safe behind that fountain, and actually not working out for Oops in the end, as now Camille leaders on reload. Insane has 4 shells, but really can't hit anything, and Raven on that low HP actually doing a lot of damage.
Hey, it's not working at all, because they already pushed in the middle street in a great counter attack, and once they are on reload, and they are now, they have to run through the enemy lines. There is no worse scenario than this.
Hellfish and Pare pushing into the middle road now. Percussion coming in here as well, and the Insane going down, and it doesn't look like it's working out for Oops, as they look to be in a good position, but Perkusya's gonna have to deal with that 1-1-3 by himself and bouncing the shells here. Xanalane coming in from behind, Crooks as well, and it's only Feaster and Algo left. The plan from Oops, it seemed okay, not working out though.
Well, honestly, nothing was right here at the moment. Like, it looked at the moment okay when they had all those tanks aligned, covering the point, but once they moved and split away, that was practically the surrender of the game.
Surrender of the game at the same time as the northern push came out from the boys from KB. They pushed the middle road with Hellfish and Pare, managed to take down Duck of that, trading Hellfish's HP, but still taking out that Gorilla, very important. And Raven actually surviving that crossing there and then making life for Spoink very hard.
Yeah, everyone was playing a certain mind game here. We were wondering why would they give up the field so easily. Well, the answer was simple, because they wanted to rotate through the city. And Oops definitely, who anticipated that and played on that card, did not position well enough.
I don't like that spotting position from Spoink so much, because the particular bush he is in, it spots the right side road from his perspective, but the left side one, he doesn't.
Wide open.
He doesn't spot it. You could see Raven pretty much was already in his face when he got spotted.
Honestly, if Camille was anywhere, he should have been more on his left, so he would give him a hint
should have
when
been
to
in
run.
the one line pretty much.
Yeah.
Around that corner there, he would have been able to pretty much pick up Raven for free and then land some shells as well. But still, at the same time,
Spoink would be able to run away.
The push from the middle though, they would have still gotten the Gorilla for free, and then Feaster, Fetzak, and Algo would also be kind of called by themselves.
Yeah, but it's kind of cheaper to lose one grill instead of losing 3 bachas and a grill in the process.
So as we said, Ruinberg defense, not the hardest to win. As we can look at our statistics here, see exactly who did pretty well in this round. And you can see here, Sana Leon, again, my boy, and then Feaster Fetzak. Also, okay damage, but very, very even spread here. Nobody doing above 2.5k damage.
Definitely even spread, but it's only positional who did what. The thing is, it's just KB did a better rotation and won game by it. It was not a specific player involvement that solved it. It was just purely tactical.
KB outplaying Oops there. Now Oops moving over to the defensive side. What do we expect? I mean, statistics are in favor of Oops here because Spoink, Insane, Perkusiat, Algo. Not the greatest of performances there.
Game. Not the best game to hear.
But now, focusing on the next round. Coming in here, statistics are obviously in favor of Ruinberg defense for Oops. Is KB, is Hellfish going to be, whatever he's going to bring, is it going to be good enough to break Oops' defense?
Bring some good cheese. That's the only way to win it.
We've seen a lot of, I want to see that tier 9 batcher come into play.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
I feel like the RU, T54, T49, they're all kind of obsolete now at this point. Unless you want to push somebody down the 0 line.
Honestly, I would really like to see if someone triggers a push on those houses on northern red line with a couple of tier 9 bachats and normal ones. Because so far it was always done with tier 10s, but this would bring another perspective here.
Yeah, we can bring up the lineups here. Coming into our possible last round, with KB being on match point so far, and
here comes the cheese.
Oh, the oh-ho,
oh-ho.
And then the mouse as well. First time
FVTD.
And FVTD.
This has a northern cap written all over it. I don't see how can you even play the southern one with this.
This feels like Raven HR's influence from Penta coming in here. But that OHO only works on the northern cap. Can be used as a fake, but it's very easy to realize if it is a fake.
I've seen some teams actually leave a OHO on a southern camp, but they never won anything because it was too slow to rotate later.
It does seem like our game is ready here. Let's see what kind of cheese KB has ready for us as we're moving into our possible last round here. Can KB close it out? We had OHO, FVTD, and Mouse. Mojo, gonna be interesting to see how that works out. Fairly normal start from Oops here.
Well, nothing surprising. OHO is going up.
Raven, slowly but surely, understatement, moving towards that capture circle here.
Algo is checking out in the middle and north.
Spoink though, Spoink has to be careful here. Could possibly get clicked by those TVPs. If they manage to land the track, they do manage to land the track. Spoink in a lot of trouble here. And tracked again, Spoink could be going down here. Crooks lands a shell and Spoink goes down. Massive advantage for KB already. Spoink should have realized that it was a possibility, and even Failway would have been in position to land 1 or 2 shells. In already a really bad start coming out for Oops here. Losing Spoink so early is the obvious thing to do against the OHO. The enemy brings an OHO.
Bloody real. Did he even start driving there from the start, or he went there later?
The TVPs can clip him. They got the first track off, they got the second track off, and Failware goes to B4 to get another 1 or 2 shells. And it's a very common thing to do, push somebody across the A line. It's what a lot of teams do to try and counter that, but KB being ready for that, and now Hellfish and the Mouse slowly moving into that capture circle.
Well, the slowly is a keyword, but he can actually cover a tank behind because now they actually can even risk someone.
Oh my, I just realized what they use the OHO for.
What you mean? You mean they will make like a double shield?
No, I think they picked the OHO to do HE damage.
The spamming?
Yeah, the spamming of HE damage onto anybody that's possibly hull down, together with the FVTD. Both of them, if for example Duck of Dead peaks from B7 there, behind that rubble pile, Raven with HE, it's a Japanese heavy, could have hit him, but now he's moved towards the cap, but the FVTD, it's an easy shot here. Camille and Fisser, not really sure what to do.
I honestly think they will just stick Oho because it's really tall tank even in front of Mouse, and when Mouse angles it's gonna be really hard to do anything to him.
Insane here, taking already a little bit of damage, and that Mouse is going to be pretty annoying to deal with. And it doesn't look like Oops has a response so far. Every angle is being locked down by KB, losing Spoink really threw Oops off their game.
Well, the game is getting really slow now at the moment, since Oops is tank down and they have nothing to do. They cannot really rotate because they are risking then to lose even more tanks. Perkusiat and Algol are making sure that no one rotates from the middle.
You know what's the good part here?
And there we go, Oho comes
Raven
in first.
playing in Penta knows how to position himself on the cap with the Japanese.
Been there, done that, bros.
He's been there and done that. Positions
And
himself
there we
now.
go.
And now they will send... Normally it has to be a bad shot they send behind this.
Yeah, he should
a low
be covered
profile
completely.
Tank. Yes, a low profile tank. For example, Pade in that bad shot should try behind the Oho rack now, which will give him completely hold down. We should once Pade hits the cap, we should switch to Pade and see what kind of angles the boys from Oops could possibly have on him. If we can look at Pade here, he should be completely hold down though, Pade in that bad shot. Sana Leon controlling the other side at the same time. Oops shouldn't be able to reset Para at this point. So what is their plan now? You can see here Para, you can see not really being able to hit, completely hold down pretty much. This might be a slight angle from A6, but really hard.
But even if they go for that A6, I don't think they can spot him, and they would be widely exposed for all those TVPs.
Mouse is now just going to act as a sponge actually, D3, waiting for the push to come out, and with his 3k HP, it'd be very hard for Oops to chew that Mouse. It can bounce a few shells and those 50 Bs, and there, don't forget, there's still Leech Bear in that FETD.
There is a lot of force coming here from Oops, but I would say Knäckebröd is more than ready to meet them here on this side, because Mouse, FETD and Xeneleon will have a lot of firepower and they can join it quickly with other guys. And let's not forget, Pade can abandon cap anytime he wants.
See Hellfish here already spotting Perkusiat. Perkusiat forced to move forward to that Mouse, taking a little bit of damage, but still 2.5k left. And Camille sees that Mouse peeking out and decides not to go for the trade there, as Oops doesn't really have a real response here. Duck of Dead will possibly push forward, trying to get Pade behind that wreck so far, but it only depends if he can get the reset here. There's still Failware. Duck of Dead taking a little bit of damage here. Does reset the base capture. Gets tracked. Uses the repair kit. Gets out of here. So does he get out of there? Duck of Dead taking more and more damage here. Pade also in that batch able to peek out.
I think Pade will pick him out here definitely.
It doesn't look like Duck of Dead will be surviving this one, as Insane also goes down. Duck of Dead is the next one on the chopping board, and KB's cheese actually aged perfectly, working out. They can put 3 guys on the capture circle now, as there's nobody left in the AB line. Perkusiat, Fister and Kalma, there's pretty much nothing they can do in this one, as watch as the base capture goes lower and lower, and Fister has to rotate now, but even at that point, those 2 bad shots from TVP will just blow him up. Hellfish gets shot in the side by Alco, but at this point, the only thing that matters is the capture circle, now down to 20 seconds, and it's all but over for Oops in this one, as it does look like KB is going to be able to get this one.
Fitzer will probably get arrested now, but that's only a temporarily delay of defeat, because outgunned, outnumbered, and outpositioned.
Yeah, Fister comes in here for the reset, but the damage that's being taken by Oops is so much at this point. Gets absolutely wrecked in that 50B. Manages to get 1 reset. Perkusiat now pushing past, trying to get another reset. Camille's on reload. That Mouse in full effect now. Does pick up Pade though, but Leech Bear and that FETD are coming around the corner as well here. landing 700 damage on the side. Feaster will go down here to Crooks. Philware, this still has the capture circle. Perkusha does kill Hellfish here, bringing it a little bit closer, but at this point there's really nothing Oops can do as watch as their tanks go down one by one. Crooks will now rejoin the capture circle. Lich Bear, Perkusha trying to run away here, but there's nowhere he can run.
The big gun is coming.
The big gun is coming as Lich Bear lines up the shell and takes Perkusha down. It's all onto Kamil and Algo here, and it does look like the boys from KB managing to win a Ruinberg attack inside here as Algo, he can try what he wants to do. Cap is down to 26 seconds, 25 seconds. Mojo.
Well, maybe he can do a miraculous reset, or maybe he will just run into an FETD and that will be his goodbye for today.
Crooks will just wait on this corner for Kamil to peek. Kamil is a two-shot. Crooks peeks out. Kamil. Oh,
no pen.
No pen again.
No pen again.
Both guys not penning. Then the high roll. Crooks taking down Kamil, and it's just Algo with 3 seconds left on the cap. 2 seconds, 1 second. And the reset.
Never surrender, Algo. Never surrender.
Never surrender, Algo. He has 900 HP. Realistically, there's nothing he can do. Lich Bear is coming.
He can make you
behind.
talk a little more, mate.
He can make me talk a little bit more, as I expected the round to be done at this point. But 7 seconds left on the cap. 6 seconds left. Can the boys from KB pick it up now? Algo comes around the corner. 1 second left. It's gonna be it. KB pick up the match here against Oops. 5-3, Mojo. 5-3.
Wow. Who would say that?
And there is no tiebreaker, Mojo.
There is no time breaker, and I think even the production is very happy.
I could hear some cheers.